Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Today is October 8th of 2025. This is the U.S. National Grid Implementation Work Group meeting, and our agenda is administrative meeting and updates. We'll take that to 2:30. Community discussion, help us help you. We'll go to 3, and then we dribble around here for a little bit. We can go all the way out to 3:30, even longer if you're so inclined. But that's the intent right now. And of course, I'm double clicking as usual. Administrative meeting updates. I think maybe did we miss something? Here we go. Here's the sequence: opening, committee reports, priority review, updates, issues, old business, new business, comments, announcement, and other business. That's the first 30 minutes. Opening, attendance is being collected automatically off the Zoom. The recorder's on. I'm gaveling the meeting open as I previously indicated. So now before the floor, are there any changes, deletions, additions, whatever, to the agenda as published?
Move approval.
Going once, going twice, not hearing anything. I now ask for a motion to accept the agenda as published.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there anyone opposed? Hearing no one, the agenda as published is accepted and we're underway. Welcome, as I do all the time. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And it doesn't look like we've got any new participants, but if you were new, I'd give you a special thank you for being here. But off we go. Committee reports. Here's what we got. Reminder: we are structurally built with 3 committees: board of directors, executive committee. Their responsibilities are listed on the left-hand side. Here we go. On the right-hand side is kind of a report how things are going. Last meeting of the board of directors was on September 23rd of 2025. As you will see, we're making good, I would even call it great progress on completing our priorities for the year. Secretary Knipple will now report as to when the next board of directors meeting will be and when the next implementation work group meeting will take place.
All right. See them on the screen. Does anybody have any conflicts with those the dates and times? Please check your calendars right now if you can. I think we're good to go, Steve.
Okay, then as
Just for the so the duration on the board of directors meeting is 1 hour. Duration on the second IWG meeting, January 14th, is 2 hours or hour and a half, something like that.
thank you, Randy. So the dates as published are the next board of directors meeting Tuesday, December 16th at 11 o'clock in the morning Central Time, and then Wednesday for the IWG of January 14th. The snow will be on the ground, the wind will be blowing, no leaves will be in the trees, etc. 2 p.m. Central Time. Treasurer Strode, what can you tell us about our bank balance?
I can tell you that it's gone up since
Really?
June, just a little bit. I did buy a mug, but I that doesn't account for all of that. So with 446.51, there we go.
Okay, we like it. Thank you for buying a mug. I think you were our first actual customer in the Zazzle. I saw it come by and I thought, that's pretty cool. Somebody actually bought something. All
Well,
right.
you asked me to test the website, and I needed a new coffee cup, and I was happy to do it.
Thank you very much, Georgiana. Appreciate that. We've got no debt, no outstanding bills. The balance that we have in the piggy bank right now covers the current operating costs for the next 9 months. There is a caveat on that, however. Be aware that all the development work that's been going on has been paid for by Shared Geo, and the bill is quite substantial. So, what we're trying to do is get this organization to the point where it can stand on its own two legs. Please consider a donation as indicated there, where you can go to donate.
Steve,
It's a
not
link
hearing you.
off of the website itself. No problem to go there. And as I've indicated here, being the Navy person that I am, sink or float, no joke. So no money in the piggy bank, down goes the ship. So please give some consideration. 10, 15, $20 here and there helps. Priorities review. Here's what we're looking at. We set out the year and actually added number 8. We've converted to the green light. We're doing good. Yellow light, we're underway on something but not finished. And red means we're not doing anything about that one. So the big change for us is we finished the USNG store front side and back side. I'll get you a chance to take a look at the back side, and maybe it'll help you understand why we were slow getting this one out the gate. This thing was a massive, massive undertaking. We originally thought we would be done in June, but really, I don't know. Mike, chime in here. I think we could probably have called it truly finished probably the last week of September. So we're not that far away from it.
Yeah, I would
Uh,
agree.
yeah. Begin a PR campaign, LinkedIn, published articles, booth outreach. That's in fact underway. Rework of the USNG Center, as we'll show you here in a bit, that's underway. We're hoping to have that done by the end of October. We're way behind on this one. We're way behind on this one, and somewhat behind on this one. But these really are small projects compared to what number 1 was, or to any degree number 3 is. So we should be able to knock those down fairly quickly. So I'm confident that we can get the vast majority of these priorities for 2025 completed yet this year. You know, we may not be on the month, obviously, but we'll get her done. Updates. Here's what we have. Here's kind of the rundown of what the outreach effort looks like. You can see on the left-hand side there, that is the number of views, just under 2,600 year to date at the Institute, and over 1,000 unique visitors. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, since we're already above 2024 and we've got the better part of 3 months yet to run towards the end of the year, I believe we'll be well across 3,000 by the end of the year, and kind of continuing that trend line upwards with engagement out for the website itself. The USNG store, I know that looks a little odd, and as I've explained to the board of directors, 2024, the site was completely turned off as we were trying to figure out how to make things work over at the store. But even since we have turned it on in 2025, we've we've got over 2,000 views, 805 visitors, but we haven't advertised it yet. We've done only a soft opening on it, which we did about 3 months ago, in hopes that people would come through, find bugs and that kind of stuff, and let us know about them. And in fact, that's exactly what's happened. So my hat's off to anybody that sent in, "Hey Steve, did you know you got grid spelled backwards?" I literally had one of those kinds of incidents. So thank you. Thank you. So we've been working on cleaning that stuff up, but as you're going to see here in a moment, we're about ready to do some wild stuff. Here we go. The chimp is here, but we aren't monkeying around, okay? Share Geo ponied up for an annual account for us that contains up to 2,500 email addresses. Mike, what's the final count? Where do you think we're at right now?
The final count as of this morning is 1,805, but then we need to add in a couple other little ones. So
Yeah.
we're gonna be probably around 2,100.
Yep. So what's going to happen with those? So, Mike, have we done some serious hair pulling on trying to make sure we got everything lined up so that we can,
If I had hair to pull, yes.
yeah, so we can target some folks. So here's what's coming, gentlemen and ladies. It should be ladies and gentlemen. Um, uh, I know you can't read these big, long things, but we want you to know that there are two MailChimps that are queued up that are going to hit the street tomorrow. Well, the one on the left-hand side is going to be targeting the emergency management sector, and the one that's on the right half side of the screen is going to be going after the geospatial slash trails community. So our Mike can sort me out later, but you get the idea. We're going to be targeting two specific communities. We did a previous kind of test run with the emergency managers in Minnesota and the leadership of NISJIC, just to make sure we had our heads around mechanics, because when we push these lists, we're going to be hitting, as Mike has indicated there, 1,800 plus people. And I mean, if we only get 1% of that kind of a push more interested in what we're doing, that's a healthy number of people. 10% would be better, but realistically, we know from past experience in doing campaigns like this that, you know, anything above 5%, you're a rocket scientist. So we're aiming low, and hopefully we don't end up there, but we're going to find out. So anyway, the point is this: we're now enabled with a paid Mailchimp account, which typically, until you pay for one, there's an upper limit of only 500, and there's all kinds of restrictions on how you can use it. But we're in good shape going forward. I did the application for it to be a nonprofit account, so it's a fairly reasonable buy. Um, and like I said, grand opening, we're going to push it tomorrow. If and when you catch something as you're wandering through the U.S. National Grid store that needs to be corrected, please let us know. We want to make sure that there isn't any buffoonery posted on the website. And the only way we can do that is our eyes are tired from reading over it, and we know, the likelihood that there's still stuff out there that's messed up, it could be high. So please, if you see something, let us know at info@usngstore.org, and we will, in fact, fix it. As I briefed the board of directors, the question had been, what took so long for you guys to finish this thing up? Well, what we more or less didn't comprehend, or maybe I should put the full blame on me, is that when we converted the store from being at Big Commerce to being, rebuilt within a new web structure and using WooCommerce, we had to rebuild everything from scratch. And because we are outside the norm in the flow of how a business purchase normally occurs online, where you go in, go, I'll take 3 pairs of sneakers, and you put your credit card in and away you go. Because there is so much process in trying to manage an ELM order, that you need to go back and forth to verify that you're producing the ELM for them for the area that they want to have, and so on and so forth. It took a lot of effort. So I've shown you kind of a quote request, and over on the left hand side, we had to build a store management site. We had to create the process and forms which manage the sales process itself. And we had to work through the online payment management and hookup of credit card, PayPal processing. And effectively, for instance, here's just the top like 1/5 of the page that walks through the steps about what it takes to produce and move through the process to put in the hands of somebody in the field, their set of elms. There's 26 different pages of operational information that had to be built here. And to say the least, the thing that is a wonderful development for this is that for the first time ever, the process is now documented. It's not just in my head. If I get hit by a truck, Mike can easily walk in here and make things happen. And so that is a great reinforcement point, particularly given this is going to end up being an income flow for the Institute. Um, I'm going to head back out on the road again. Um, I'm headed out to the Wisconsin Regional Conference in Madison on the 14th, and then I'll be hitting the one down in Illinois on the 21st. I'll stop yapping for a second. Is there anyone else out there that will be out doing outreach of this nature, doing presentations or anything? Going once?
Not an upcoming presentation, but just wanted to say we missed you at Minnesota GIS LIS.
Yeah, I was at a big wedding. Couldn't dodge that one. Thanks. Thanks though, Edward. Appreciate it. Okay. Issues. Here's what we got. Mike, please do not start sobbing online, okay?
Before you do that, though, we did get a comment from Rich on the USNG store page. The free resources link does not work. Rich, are you referring to just like that top menu item?
No, I just opened it on my smartphone and I scrolled down about halfway through the page and there's some pictures and it says free resources and there's a blue button or blue bar. I click on that, it doesn't go anywhere.
And that's exactly what we need. Yep, I see it does not have a link associated with it. So I will fix that. Thank you.
You bet.
Keep them coming. That's exactly what stuff we need. Appreciate it. Thank you. Where was I? Issues. It's a terrible thing to watch a grown man cry. And poor Mike, despite all his, I don't even know what the top level effort to try to get us across 200, you've been stuck at 187 now for how long? It's terrible.
Probably 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, we hit 187 and just like stopped. So if anybody out there can do some encouragement on LinkedIn to get more people to join us on the LinkedIn site, we'd really appreciate it. So, I've said this a million times. It's the easiest, thing that can happen here. It's no cost. And, you know, Mike continues and Sophie continues to write really great stuff that gets posted up there. So please, by all means, help reinforce the effort if you can do so. Here we are. Poor Mike getting ready to cry. If you got any other sort of social media stuff, please jot down msovereign@sharegeo.org. Drop him a line. If you got some ideas about things that can be done better. And as I've just indicated, please like or comment on LinkedIn posts and encourage others to follow us. So there you go. Kind of the second issue in that line, if you're aware of a conference that we can still get signed up for, we've got an event, a trail builder event in Duluth already on our radar for next year for May. But if you know anything between now, or I should say the end date to sign up, and usually there isn't much happening in November, and then it really trails off in December. But if you know anything starting in 2026 where we can go wave the banner of US National Grid by all means, please let us know. And that kind of spans GIS, emergency service sector, or the trail user communities, and we'll tailor the pitch to whatever group we're approaching there.
Hey, Steve.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Brian Huberty. One thing that just came out through the news a couple days ago in our backyard, more or less, in August of 2026, is what's called the Outdoor Retailers Conference. It's going to be at the Minneapolis Convention Center. It used to be in Salt Lake City. So this is all the businesses that it's more like skiers, boaters, trail people, and so forth. But check out their website.
Okay.
It might be worth thinking about putting a booth there.
No, I'm scribbling. I like the idea because one of the things that Mike and I have been talking about doing is to try to hit when we've gone through these trail user communities, when we find groups or companies that are supporting trail associations, that we should start targeting them with a message.
Yeah,
Rich.
Yeah, and you know Paul Morin's the head of the North Country Trail, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
Cool.
on the email push tomorrow.
Okay.
He'll be hearing from us. Rich, you got your hand up.
Yeah, just a little bit of information here. This year, October 20th to the 23rd, coming up here real fast. I'll be attending the International Association of Wildland Fire Safety Summit in Calgary, Alberta, and I'm not doing a presentation. However, I'm going to make copies of our brochure, USNG brochure I found on the web, nice little trifold, and I'll take that with me and I'll corner some folks and do some politicking. So I just wanted to let you know.
Exactly the kind of stuff we need. It can be that one-on-one stuff, and if you got something to stick in somebody's hand, that always works great. So thank you, Rich. Thank you.
You bet.
Speaking of Rich, he's still got that opportunity out there. He's looking for authors. Wildfire Magazine, he can help you become famous. Might even allow you to run for president. So think about it. If you got an opportunity or interested in writing an article about this life-saving way to use a coordinate system, Rich will greet you with, do I dare say, open arms, Rich?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, I do volunteer work for the Wildfire Magazine, and we're always looking for authors. And we've got a set of authors guidelines. If you're interested, let me know. I'll send you the authors guidelines and help you wherever I can. So
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, issue number 4, why we are here. I typically put up a death, but I thought this one is kind of interest as well. Here some firefighters go mistakenly breaking down the door of a resident in Dallas, and the city says, "Nah, we're not going to pay for that." So kind of an odd thing, but it once again reinforces, this court case that I talked about on June 12th, 9-0 zip at the U.S. Supreme Court, basically, which boils down to geolocation ignorance is no defense if you're a first responder. So it'll be interesting to see over time as the awareness of this case dribbles more into the legal community to see if there's more recourse being built based on that idea. Okay, who or what did I miss? Going once, going twice, gone. Okay, old business. Yeah, there's 3 of them there still arcing around. I've got 2 of them for action, and as soon as I can break out, I'll do it. And then Randy's got one for action. I don't know if there's anybody else in the call, Randy, you were going to coordinate with on that one, but there it is. New business. Okay, here's what we got. Board of Directors, board elections during the last quarter of each fiscal year, which is where we are, of the corporation. The board of directors shall elect directors to replace those whose terms will expire at the end of the fiscal year. This election shall take place during a regular meeting of the directors called in accordance with the provisions of these bylaws. So the board of directors is meeting on December 16th, and they will vote during that meeting as to what they want to do for their board structure going forward. Generally, we've had the impression that 9 members would be ideal. There are currently 8 members, so there's one slot that's been gapped. And then, since we're on this 3-year refresh cycle, there is a total of 4 total openings. Each is a 3-year term per the bylaws. What the signing up means is that you would be attending 8 meetings per year, 4 like you're sitting in on right now, which is the USNG Implementation Work Group meeting, and then 4 being the Board of Directors meetings, meet once a quarter. Guide USNGI efforts going forward, and what will be substantially different, I believe, from where we have been in the past. We are going to finally be able to transition from organization building to a more aggressive approach to advocacy. So that's the way to think about what that term would look like. There are no special requirements. It's about passion. Do you have a passion for the subject? Do you believe it's important? That sort of thing. And if you're interested in being put up for consideration, submit a resume and cover letter explaining why you would want to be on the board of directors by close of business on December 10th. I know that's a long ways away. It's easy to put stuff off, but if you are interested, at least scribble down a note to yourself to go, hey, if I'm going to do this, I got to do it by December 10th. And there's the email address. You can send it to me, and I'll make sure that the secretary of the organization, who is Randy, gets your submission, since he'll run the meeting basically where the votes are taken. They'll be taken, as I indicated earlier, during the board of directors meeting on December 16th. Okay, agenda number 2 or item number 2. Is there anything from the floor about an idea for agenda for our next IWG? The format of these meetings is, I briefed here at the start, 30 minutes of admin update, and then 30, 60 minutes of informational presentation, 1 hour, 30-minute meeting. And if I hear nothing from the floor, I will once again take responsibility for, provided, that is, I get elected again to the board of directors and they choose me to be chair, I will take the initiative to figure out what that meeting will look like. Going once, going twice, gone. Okay, comments, announcements, and other business. Anybody else? Anything out there from the floor? Going once, going twice, gone. Okay, here's where we are. Community discussion. Unfortunately for you, you're going to have to listen to me blab for a little bit longer. This, as indicated in the agenda, is about us explaining to you what's going on with the rebuild of the USNG Information Center, which the one that's currently online really is USNG Information Center 2.0. That was a spin-off product basically from when there was something originally built for the Emergency Preparedness Committee in the state of Minnesota. It was getting so much traffic that we decided to send it off to be its own thing. And that was done in roughly the 2010 timeframe. And the code from then is the code that's still there. And it's been deprecated. It's nasty. It doesn't like to play with its neighbors very well. And so If you go to USNG, did I put store up there? It should say center. It's terrible. I thought I checked my slides, but obviously not. So if you go to usngcenter.org, you'll see this thing right now. It says, hey, we're working on this thing. Go to one of our other sites. And, but if you go to USNG Center, not store, fired as the slide maker. If you go to .com, you'll see this thing. And so this is the old version that we tried to bring forward. We hired some guys in India. They tried to bring it forward, and it just turned into nothing big, a big fat mess. That thing in the middle used to be white, and it's black. Nothing in it works. But as part of the deal, they built us a completely new structure. Think of this as the skeleton, the framework for us to build on. And as I indicated earlier, the replacement thing that I'll show you here in a second, the code was from 2000, and the original code was from 2010. The theme is no longer maintained, and we paid for a new framework. The layout that we're going to go to. So if you jump back here, you see all this stuff along the top here about apps and GPS, data software tools, library, maps and readers, markers, training, and viewers. Again, it was supposed to be a one-stop shop thing, but as time's gone along, we figured out, well, maybe there's a different way of doing this because there just is not functionally a way to handle all that stuff in one site. And so, as you know, we've ended up with the Institute for Advocacy, and we've ended up with the store for promotional product kinds of things. And now we're getting ready to circle all the way back to fix the training and education piece. And so we're thinking the layout is going to end up being simply an about page, a data and software and tools, a library page, and then a training education function, which will have kind of three major subcategories. And for any of you that have been a participant when we've gone out on the road and done the thing where we've done a combined workshop where the GIS community and the ESS's community is invited in, similar to what some of the stuff we did down at the University of La Crosse. What you end up kind of breaking down into is it works for everybody to sit in a general orientation meeting to talk about what U.S. National Grid is and why it's important, and why it makes more sense than using some of the other alternatives that are out there. And then you break down into two different components. One where you do instruction to help the GIS community understand how to build products that incorporate U.S. National Grid. And then the breakout for the emergency services sector is how to use the various tools that are available to, use the U.S. National Grid, know where you are on it, how to communicate, a response, and so on and so forth. So philosophically, that's more or less the approach that's been taken in thinking about what we're going to try to do here. Now, please erase out of your brain the emergency location markers thing. That is, again, an import function of creating a skeleton that the boys from India did for us. And then, as you can see, kind of the form is going to follow very similar to the way the store has been laid out. That's kind of one version, and then I'm going to show you some thinking about a different way to approach this issue. So only four major tabs. So I'm going to come right back here and go. So you're going to be down to about, data and software, library, and training. This other stuff has either been migrated over to the institute or the store, and we're going to focus on making this what everybody has always asked for, was a dedicated education and training site. So I'll walk you through, and really the idea here is for you to just get a sense of the direction of where we're headed. And what we're interested at this point is because we have a framework in place, as I've indicated. Now we're getting ready to hang, if you want to use a Christmas tree analogy, we got the Christmas tree. Now we're getting ready to hang the ornaments on it. And we want to make sure that we're going to approach where the angel goes and, where the popcorn string and all that stuff goes. So this is, as I walk through this, is more or less the thinking as it exists right now. So one version of the landing page. And then, as you saw earlier, kind of this breakdown thing as you come down the front to get you to the most important things within the website for training and education. And then, kind of that standard layout down across the bottom. About, as you can see, by the way these taggings go right here, you can kind of, we're in the about subcategory, and within it, you got about USNG. Who's the review board that says what's in here is good, and who's helping sponsor if there is one. So right now, about USNG, what we offer, who we serve, review board, pictures, that kind of thing, and then sponsor information. Now I'll stop and come up for air for right now. So far, are there any thoughts? First of all, let's start with general layout. Is what we're proposing here of taking the center, the information center, down to these four categories, does that make sense?
Sounds good to me.
Jules, come on, don't be shy.
Well, at this point, I don't see, I don't, what else would you add? I mean, I don't have a justification to change anything at this point.
Okay,
I agree with Randy.
okay. We're trying to ping off everybody at this point to again make sure we don't go down the wrong road. So we end up with a major rebuild. So
Well, I
anyway,
think simpler, cleaner is better for sure.
okay. And
Agree.
it will work a whole bunch better. And if you're not aware of it, the other issue is if you wander into, we left the .com one up so people could go look, but the level of stuff that's broken in there, probably better part of 70% of the links don't work. So it really wasn't functional. Okay, data and software, data, the listing that we've had in the past for the ability for folks to download USNG, the Polygon stuff by FEMA region. And then there's also regional data. And then I think there's also, what is it, 100-meter grid squares as well. Software, we're going to get that completely rebuilt. And then tools would be basically up to this point, we are following what the old layout was in terms of the subdivisions. And yeah, so that's what that one would look like. Library, we're going to simplify a great deal because a lot of what was in the library got ripped out because it got brought over as either news items or reference items or things of that nature were brought over to the other to the institute, and then well, actually, some of it came over to the store, and then training would be the last area, and as indicated here, we've broken it out by general orientation, GIS community, and then finally the ESS community. Okay, so of course the last thing would be a contact page, and everything you just looked at is you know, um, a is a mock-up for us to begin working off of to try to take whatever it makes sense to salvage or improve on the framework to lay it in. So I will stop blabbing once again. And thoughts, additions, even if it's away from this meeting, if you've seen something here that you think we can do better, again, we are all ears. And so, what we hope to have available for further review, um, perhaps before the end of the month, is what we're shooting for, would be an initial product that we would invite individuals that belong to the Institute to come on in and take a look at. So, with that, any other thoughts? Come on, Iowa. What are you thinking? I can't even twist David's arm to come off mute. It's terrible.
I got too many things going on at once. I'm glad you're running this. That's what I say.
Okay. Do you think in general, if we develop that as the education, the thing we point people to for education and the tools to be able to implement USNG, that this is the way we should go?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's nice to have an all-in-one, but a Leatherman doesn't replace my dad's mechanic tool set. Sometimes it's nice to have a focus tool that does the best job for the best thing. And if what I'm talking to somebody about is education, it's nice to tell them, no, not the store, scroll past that, forget
Yeah.
to have, to have something nice and focused that they can see it's got the stuff they're after. And as long as we're linking them all together, so you can go from one to the other,
Yeah.
I like the focused approach.
Okay. Thank you, David. Appreciate that. Georgiana, what do you think? You have a PhD after your name.
Well, I think it looks good. And my mind is racing because I want to get some data in there, some customized data, but we'll discuss that at a later point.
Okay. That's a great point, because what I would like to follow up on is we're also trying to build it to be flexible and to expand as needed. And so, your idea about adding additional data, that would be a helpful way to encourage use.
Steve, another comment. This is Jules.
Yeah.
I hesitate to bring my thoughts into this august collection of experts who, all of whom know more about these the details of these things than I do. But as a layman who, when I come to a site like this, and I'm looking for information on, well, the grid and how it works and that sort of thing, and it's important that the visualization tools, and you've covered this to some extent too, and I'm sure you think about it a lot. The visualization tools need to be straightforward and user friendly. I get frustrated when I go to map sites and find a location and say, I'd like to get the U.S. National Grid coordinate for that, but I only see lat long. And then I go looking for how you make the conversion, and there's nothing really apparent. It's generally a convoluted process. So as simple as we can make these things to present to the public and even interested experts from, the emergency response and GIS communities, to be able to sort of go back and forth between things that they may be more used to, and then the grid in relatively easy visualization of maps and city grids and things like that. I hope that makes sense.
Here's what I'm thinking. I just heard, Jules. I think what you would like to see would be some, if you will, um, graphics that would show the flow of, if you are on Google Maps, how do I determine the U.S. national, just as an example, how do I determine what's the flow for me to get to know what the U.S. National Grid is for that location? Some very simple graphics interspersed throughout the website that show those basic kinds of things.
That's partly it. Yes. I mean, because people use these different like Google Maps and other things that to find places. But more importantly, on the site itself, when you have a map product that you can call up a grid coordinate on, and then reflect it in different ways, I guess. I mean, I'm not saying that as elegantly as I should for the audience here. It's just been a source of frustration with me when I go to other sites and try to use the map products there and find a U.S. national grid coordinate for things. It's very frustrating. So it's important that our own home sites make it less frustrating when people are looking for information on the site that we provide.
I like the idea, because where my head's going on this is the issue of being involved in writing a couple of aircraft manuals, and as a function of that, as smart as you might think a pilot is, we had to adopt the comic book approach in using graphics to get the person headed in the right direction for understanding what was being what we were trying to relate with words. You also had to simultaneously show them a picture which would connect it. So I think there will be places in here, now that you mention that idea, where we will probably go more graphic heavy than we were originally thinking, with just the standard kind of a word layout thing. Anyway, we'll play with it, and we'll see if we can come up with some examples so you can look at them and say, yeah, I think that would be a better way to tackle that. Anyway.
Steve, just a quick question for Jules. Jules, can you just like give us an example of a time or website that you did go on and you were trying to find the USNG coordinates, but you weren't able to? Was it GIS Surfer? Was it Google Maps? What were you trying to?
GIS Surfer comes to mind.
Okay.
When you go on, it's a enormously powerful tool, I think. I mean, it's got all kinds of things on it, but to try to call up a map and find a location you're looking for on the map, and then get a coordinate for it, it was just maybe I'm just not astute enough to work my way through all of that process, but it was confusing and frustrating.
You're not the only one. I know I've played around with it, and I had more luck with like the NAPSIG tool, but there have been a couple of times where it's like, how do I just want to know versus going to another website and then putting in the lat long to try to get it converted, and then it gives me MGRS, not, it just.
Exactly. Yes.
Yep, I understand where you're coming from.
And so I'm saying our website ought not to be that way.
I don't know how we would actually implement that full robust conversion tool, but it looks like Steve.
I got lots of ideas.
Okay.
The fact that Jules said that, we'll be good. We'll be good. I think. Okay. Any more comments? Going once? Going
Hey,
twice?
Steve.
Go.
Hey, Steve. Kind of a little bit unrelated, but USGS has a web page that TopoView, and you can download USGS topo maps, different scales. It goes back historically as well, and you can get a JPEG or PDF. It's just a handy site. I don't know if that's something you want to put a link in here to or not, but just a side note.
Okay, we got it. Yeah, that's a real hair puller site because you either need to you either need to be conversant on it or it can be very confusing. At least that's what I found. But anyway, yeah, no, we'll take we're gonna I got the notes scribbled down. We'll take a look at it. Yeah. Uh anything else? Going once? Going twice?
I do agree with that last comment too, because that's another frustration. USGS used to have a very helpful interactive site years ago, and and it was pretty straightforward, and then they did something to fix it, and it became impenetrable, or it went away for a while. I don't know. Dealing with the government is confusing in itself a lot of times.
You mean like why no one's at work today? All right. Anything else, anybody?
Related to that topo view, we do currently have a link to that on the store. And Randy did come up with those instructions because it is a little convoluted to actually get what you want in terms of the JPEG or the GeoPDF. So we do at least have that instructions hyperlinked, that download, so then you can follow those steps. Whether we end up keeping it on the store or end up porting it over to this site, we'll see.
It's a lot better than it used to, that's for sure.
Yeah. Shout out to Randy for doing that. Because I got so confused. I didn't know whether it was coming or going. Trying to find a topo map on there.
But with my instructions, it's pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, well, but they've got like 4 or 5 different entry points to
Yeah,
get to where you started from. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
I couldn't figure out how to get to where I needed to go to
Yeah, I
do
think
it.
some of those are historic artifacts.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, anything that anybody would like to discuss from the floor? Open forum if you want to. Going once. Going twice. Gone. It's a beautiful day in Minnesota. Everybody wants to get outside. So open forum. Nothing on the tin can. All right. Adjournment. Here we are. Here we go. We talked about help us help you. Please keep that in your scan. Both in terms of if you can, we've explained generally how we're going to tackle building that. And if you wake up at 2:17 in the morning and think of, oh, what'd be cool on there? Please shoot us a note, okay? Because we want to minimize the build, rebuild, tear down, rebuild something again kind of process. Anyway, next board of directors meeting is Tuesday, December 16th at 11 a.m. The next IWG is January 14th at 2 p.m. Central Time. Homework. Help us get the social media numbers up, please. Particularly, both Mike and I have the frying pan out and have the wooden spoon pounding on LinkedIn, LinkedIn, LinkedIn. Help us on LinkedIn. Help us get across 200 so I can sleep at night, okay? If you're inclined to do so, write articles, contribute where you can. Randy and maybe Al, maybe even Jules, if you're interested, we may pull you in about halfway through on building the info center to get you to poke around. so we get a mid-course correction, and then we'll turn it after we get it finished. We'll turn it loose on everybody else. So anyway, that's what's that?
Happy to do so.
Yeah, thank you, Randy.
Same here. Oh, by the way, I did write an article in June in GPS World Magazine. I don't know that anybody
Yeah,
saw it.
we
I
advertised it last time, Jules.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I lose track of stuff, but yes.
yeah, and it is in fact linked on the
Tomorrow's
Institute.
email.
Oh,
It's in tomorrow's email, the one designated
there we go.
for the emergency services and geospatial people.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be triple famous. Because didn't we recycle his article for something else, Mike?
I want to say well, you mentioned LinkedIn. I believe we had a post related to it on LinkedIn.
No, but I think we trimmed his article down from and used it for something else. Rings a bell. I don't know. It could be crazy. So at the end time is exactly 3 o'clock on mine. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
Actually, before you do, Jules, just an update. So we did post and we tagged you on LinkedIn on June 26th.
Okay.
And it had 24 reactions, 3 comments, and 5 reposts. So if we can get more articles like that out there, that would be wonderful.
That was probably one of our heaviest reacted posts,
Yeah.
wasn't it, Mike?
Yeah, and it had 596 impressions. I did also post it in certain LinkedIn groups, and so I'm sure it probably got a few thousand impressions based on that as well.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah, I don't really have a presence on social media and that sort of thing, but yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Glad it got a little reach.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second, or do we want to stay here all afternoon?
Second.
Okay. Anybody opposed? Hearing no one, we are now concluded with here. Carry this forward with you. We all live under the same sky, but we do not have the same horizon. The first prime minister of Germany, West Germany to be precise, after the end of the Second World War, and for him to have been put in that position, if you read anything about what he went through, to have survived in Germany during the war and all that, and not have ended up in front of a firing squad is pretty amazing. So, anyway, thanks everybody. Have a great
Thank
next
you.
3 months. Thanks for being here, and we'll be up online with this on the YouTube channel. So, take care.